Welcome to the regular meeting of the Spotswood Borough Council. The notice requirements provided in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in the new scheduled meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on December 27, 2017. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel. It was filed with the clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. And we're going to have a moment of silence and a salute to the flag. I would ask that you keep in your prayers the family of John Chaya. He was a 19-year veteran teacher in our high school who passed away during this past week. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Councilman Stolen?
Here.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here.
Councilman Malillo?
Here.
Councilman Rivera?
Here.
Council President Rhodes?
Here.
Mayor Sealy?
Here.
We have minutes on this meeting. We have the caucus minutes for October 1st, 2018.
I make a motion to remove the caucus minutes of October 1st.
Second it.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Rhodes?
Yes.
We have a set of minutes for our regular meeting of October 1st, 2018.
Motion to approve the regular minutes from October 1st.
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Rhodes?
Yes.
We have resolutions under consent agenda. Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda. Resolutions 2018-150 through 2018-147.
Make a motion, we move the resolutions 2018-150 through 157.
Second?
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Council President Rhodes?
Yes.
We did the
We
proclamation.
did the proclamation. Reports from the liaisons? Jose?
No.
Ted?
Nothing.
Kurt?
I just wanted to mention Mr. Chaya as well. Marge, you called me during the week and told me that he had passed away. I passed that on to my children, even though they probably had him 8 or 10 years ago. He was a person that I could tell from their reaction that really changed the lives of many people in town. And it reminds me, I always say individuals make a difference. Mr. Chaya made a big difference. He was a very special person. He's the kind of person that makes Spotswood such a special place. So it was sad to hear that. Also coming up, this is our last meeting before our pancake breakfast. Everyone's invited.
Woo-hoo.
And it's getting a little nervous. We're getting down to the end. There's a lot to do. But thank you all for selling some tickets. And we look forward to another delicious breakfast on a cool October morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
October 28th.
October 28th.
John?
Yeah.
Do you have a report? Anything?
I got, no, just the two. That's it. Board of Ed. That's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the high school library. And then the library on Main Street, that's Thursday, the 18th, 7 o'clock at the library meeting. That's it.
All right, John, thank you. There's two things. The senior center is a happening place. It doesn't sound like it, but it really is. You could see they do lots of activities down there. They do health screenings, health information. I'm really glad that I live in this town because of the services that they give there, and they're top-notch, and they're there when you need them, because I did have a situation with a family member, and they spent an hour with the two of us just guiding us through the health system. And if any of you have ever used healthcare in this country, it can be very confusing, especially for those who are really disabled. The other thing is, they did a drive, and I'm going to read you the email that I got from the Senior Center Director, Donna Falkenberry. The Spotswood Office on Aging is planning to send care packages to 2 Spotswood community members who are currently serving in the military. Wouldn't it be nice to brighten the day, many days, of Spotswood soldiers serving far away from home and their comrades? To accomplish this, we are collecting new unopened items from the attached list to be included in the box. We are also asking as many seniors and friends of seniors as possible to submit a note or letter to send to the soldiers. The letter can contain info about our activities, New Jersey events, and interesting fun facts from this year. Please use only your first name and last initial and the Spotswood Office on Aging address, 1 Arlington Avenue, Suite 401, Spotswood, New Jersey, so a return note can be sent. We will start collecting items on Monday, October 1st, and finish the collection. They've already finished it. It was on Friday, October 12th. So I just want to highlight those staff that took this initiative to brighten the lives of our soldiers overseas that are safeguarding all of us here, God bless you, in this country. And she said to please not drop off anything now because the drive has closed, but that they will be repeating this in the future. And so just keep an eye out for it. We'll have it posted on our website, and we'll talk about it here at the meetings going forward. But what a great idea to do, especially with Veterans Day coming up next month. So I just wanted to say thank you again to the people who work at our Spotswood Office on Aging for doing something so thoughtful. And I actually have the list of, food and drink, personal care and clothing, entertainment and communication, and reminders of home that you could send. So I'll have it up here if you're interested after the meeting.
Excuse me, Council President, I did put some out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Terrific. Great, Pat. Thank you. The other, well, I'll ask for Ed to do his report, and then we can discuss that. I'm done. Thank you. Ed?
Is the rest of the council done?
Yeah, we all went.
We'll start off with the good stuff first then. Fishing Derby's coming up Saturday, October 20th.
Yeah.
It's going to be at Helmetta Lake this year because ours is currently a little snag-free. It's 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning, like I said, on Saturday the 20th. It's free fishing for all the children under 14. If you're above 14, you may be advised to get a license, because that's actually what they call a free fish day for youth. And they have prizes, and it's a really good day. I've been there a few times myself. Never caught any fish, but I've been there. And the other big day, trunk or treat, Wednesday, October 31st, Spotswood High School parking lot. Some of the trunks these people decorate are pretty wild. So that is going to be from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. It starts outside in the parking lot, and then it carries inside to the gymnasium where they do other games
Nice.
and food and refreshments. So keep those 2 dates down. Now, not bad news, but not great news. As you're dying to know about October 3rd. I really didn't want to get too deep into that right now because there's still a little more that we have to do. But the meeting, as far as I was concerned, was more or less of a meeting to find out where we were going to come up with the rest of the money, not what we were going to do with the money they have. Because how it works is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 2 people that attended the meeting with me, is they want us to break this down into a 2-part plan. And the 2-part plan would be what were we going to do with the $2.5 million, and where are we going to get possibly better than $11 million more to finish it. Amazingly enough, they had 3 bankers in this meeting, which offered us a fantastic deal of 75% of the money for zero, 25% of the money for market rate, if I'm not incorrect. 30-year life of the loan. It's another debt service deal, which I have to go over with the council. We got to discuss this, and it may become an agenda question for the ballot next year, because it's too late to do it this year, the question, because if we have to borrow the money, I'm sure all the residents want to know what it's going to cost them in the long run, and it's not going to be cheap. In the meantime, we will be searching other avenues for grants and loans. I know Mr. Rivera is working on a few right now, so we will work on that. And that's the best I can do for right now. Like I said, we're still negotiating, so
Thank you, Ed.
Not really happy with the meeting, but
Ed, was anybody there from the county?
was there anybody there from the county? No, there was not.
Okay, because that might be something we would want to pursue, too. Thank you.
Well, the county has offered assistance also in financing.
Okay, with financing, but not
Not
giving.
giving me no money, no.
I just want to highlight, Ed took a day off from work to go down there. You know, public officials do what they have to do to make sure that we deliver good services to the residents. And I know that he's been taking days off to make sure that things are covered for us as representatives at meetings, because really you have to be at the table when you're talking a lot about funding. And so I want to say thank you, Ed, for taking the time off to do that.
Well, you're welcome, but it comes with the job.
Yeah, that's true. And we do have an election coming up. Anyone else? Goosebusters. This was a program that we were presented some information on probably several months ago. And I did have a conversation. Jose, do you want to bring up what you were thinking about with this? Did you want to start?
No, I didn't even
Okay.
do any speech.
Well, the other day, I guess it was several weeks ago, I was going down DeVoe, and there was geese crossing the road, and everybody stops, the traffic stops, and the geese go across safely. So it was thought that if we do improve the lake, we have to start addressing the geese. And if they're going to be coming back there more now that we have it maybe a little more unclogged and they're able to swim on the unclogged top of the water. But, when I did talk to Dawn about this, the BA, and so I think the thought was to wait until we see the direction of the lake and the improvements that will happen there before we start investing in something to do with geese avoidance. But I'm not down that way a lot, like I am on Brunswick Avenue. Does anyone else have any thoughts? Has it been a real nuisance with the fowl crossing the road?
I live over there,
Yeah?
and no more than usual. It's more of a nuisance is all the houses that are going up Monroe.
Okay.
It's going to be nothing compared to a few
House
geese crossing the
busters.
road.
A lot less, I think, than we've had. I don't
Yeah?
use- and I'm there all the time.
That's true. Okay, Dawn, thank you very much.
From what I researched with with geese problems in general, there's no one solution. You have to constantly be changing, and they use dogs, they use speakers that play a distress call.
Yep.
Nothing seems to do it. The geese are there 24/7, and you're only annoying them 15, 20 minutes once in a while. They get used to it. It's very hard to deal with them. I haven't seen a solution yet that is...
He'll be there forever.
You'll need somebody at Streets and Roads to just become this, for them to be their mission and change their tactics every day to try to make any difference at all. So I don't see it being a panacea of solving the problem.
You know what, just slow the traffic down, let it slow down.
Yeah.
He'll be there forever, them things. Lots.
All right.
The water, they're going to be there.
Anything else right now? So then we'll defer this discussion maybe as we improve the situation down the lake and the different activities that we'll have there or whatever, and we'll revisit this at a future meeting. Open to the public?
I'll make a motion to open the regular meeting to the public.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Now's your time to come up and speak about anything that's on your mind.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. My name is Tiffany Roberts. I live right over on Eaton Avenue. And I'm here today to voice my concern regarding the gun shop that has been permitted to open on Summerhill Road. I'm not sure if you're all aware, because a lot of parents and residents were not made aware of this, but the gun shop has opened right next door to the daycare at the Goddard School and less than half a mile from our high school and middle schools. As a parent, in the wake of the prevalence of mass shootings and and places that are meant to be free from fear, like our schools. I just don't think that the opening of a gun shop in such close proximity to our children is wise or responsible. I believe other parents have the same sentiment and would have voiced those concerns if we had been made aware of the gun shop with advance notice. Earlier this year, I know many of our local leaders held a specific meeting to address school safety, where you guys expressed how we're doing everything we can to keep our children safe.
Right.
I feel like you guys send a conflicting message when you tell us that we're doing everything to keep our children safe, but we open a gun shop right next to their schools. So it begs the question, are we really doing everything we can to keep our children safe? Now, I already know that New Jersey has very tight gun laws. It's one of the reasons why I continue to reside in New Jersey. And I've already had a conversation with our wonderful police force, who are always available. So I very much appreciate that they called me back promptly to walk me through this. And they were very thorough and spent a lot of time with me to explain that the owner is responsible and a reputable dealer. And I really appreciated that. And I also appreciate that the police department has a relationship with the owner, and that the owner is someone responsible. Nonetheless, it does not put my mind at ease knowing that someone is buying guns right next to where my children are all day long. So again, it begs the question, are we really doing everything we can to keep our children safe? The last thing I just want to mention is that I wonder if our zoning laws need to be looked at again, given the changing times. There's no reason why the Borough of Spotswood can't address the zoning of gun shops next to our schools the way many other cities have. And for a local example, we can take our neighbor Piscataway. Earlier this year, Piscataway, the council and the mayor went about looking at their zoning laws and proposed amended ordinances where gun shops are not allowed to be right next to schools. And I think that is something that, within Spotswood, something that we should also look into. I think gun shops have a legitimate purpose and a place in our society. I just question if right next to a daycare and so close to our high and middle schools, if that's the best location for them. And it may be a zoning issue, and we need to readdress that. And so I would like to open it up to the council to hear your opinions of this, both the gun shop and then the security measures around it. And then I know it is an election year for some of our council members that are rerunning with new people coming on. So I would like your view regarding the gun shops opening up next to our schools.
I want to thank you for coming. It's news to me. I did not know about a gun shop opening. I do know that, we do encourage small business, right? Because they pay taxes too. And I'm not on the zoning or planning board. I'm going to defer to Kurt for this one.
Well, the zoning issues actually are restricted from the mayor and the council as well. That's something that the other members of the zoning board would be involved with.
Actually, I spoke to the zoning board because originally I immediately thought to go to the zoning board, and the zoning board informed me that it's not the zoning board who addresses these ordinances. It's actually the council along with the mayor. So I do think it's within you guys' responsibility, not the zoning board.
Right, no, but an issue like that at the zoning board, we couldn't discuss. But no, creating laws at this point wouldn't change this because he would be grandfathered. So it might be something to look into in the future and have some discussion about, but it wouldn't change the situation we have right now with this one business.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but again, because the public was not made aware of it in advance, and I have to wonder if that was done intentionally, because in Spotswood, it's a small town and everyone knows everything. So it's a bit interesting to me that this one thing kind of slipped under. But I would like to discuss it for future reference. I understand that maybe this is grandfathered in, but there's no reason why we should allow this to continue, especially if we continue to tell our kids, we want this to be a walkable town, we want them to walk to school, and they have to walk past a gun shop on a daily basis. It's a conflicting message.
Nothing, this business would have fit within the zone, so. It
I know
wouldn't
it's,
look-
yep.
It would, so nothing was slipped through. Business is open, and we're not here 24/7. So business is open that we wouldn't know which ones are opening until the public sees it themselves.
Okay.
Again, the owner took all the measures that he had to
Yep,
take.
absolutely.
Okay, and I went over there to the gun shop, to the gun store and everything. And he has a lot of security in place and everything, and very reputable.
Yep.
Police department and everything like that.
I understand that. And so am I the only one who thinks there's a, something odd about putting a gun shop so close to our daycare? Especially, I think it's chapter 95 or something in our current ordinances where you're not allowed to have a loaded weapon within 450 feet of a school. So how are we monitoring that by allowing that shop so close to our daycare?
I don't think anybody on this dais, after seeing the scenes that we've seen on the news about the mass shootings, would ever want a gun shop, to tell you the truth, next to a daycare. I don't know how that was done, but I think, private owners are allowed to open businesses, and they don't need to come to us for permission. If they have the funding and they have the business, they can open it. And like Kurt said, we wouldn't see it until you did. I hear you. But at this point, there's no legal recourse, but I think, did you bring that up to the police about the question about the loaded gun?
No, because I've been doing my research, and it's only, I spoke to the police a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's just something that I've researched fairly
Well, that's a
recently.
very valid question, and I would say that perhaps we can reconnect you with the police to explain that. And did you call the main number?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I would call and just bring that up.
Put his hand up.
Oh, he did. Who in the back? Adam? Oh, okay. Do you want to address it, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually happen to be the owner of that gun store.
Oh, fabulous.
Oh,
Hello, owner.
Answer any questions that you guys may have.
Great.
Hey, Joe, I'm Derek.
Derek?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Pleasure.
meet you.
How you doing?
Derek, can you just say your name and address?
Derek Patera, owner of Savage Cerakote here in town.
And what's your address?
210 Summerhill Road, Suite 5, Spotswood.
Okay. Did you, the ordinance about the loaded gun? Did you hear
Yes,
her
so
question?
loaded gun only pertains to law enforcement when you are outside of a business. Us, as a local dealer, we're state and federally licensed, so we're allowed to carry inside our premise only. The moment we step foot outside of our doors with a loaded gun, we're technically felons. So we cannot hold a gun outside. That's where the police come into play.
Okay.
So.
And with that, I appreciate that you, and especially that the police know you and that you're responsible, so I'm comfortable with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But of course, like, people coming into the store that then leave with their gun and ammunition, my daycare is right next door.
Gotcha.
So, I understand the police patrol, and that's fabulous, but they're not there 24/7 or during daycare hours. So what are we doing about that?
So, as a New Jersey resident, you have to have a firearms ID card in order to purchase a firearm. You have to follow local, state, federal laws, especially when you're purchasing firearms. When you're leaving a dealer, you have strict rules that when you have to keep a gun separate in the back seat of a car, and you have to keep the ammunition in a trunk of a car. If you don't do that when you're leaving a gun store, you're technically a felon. We can't technically police and stop everybody that walks out our door, but we give them the guidelines of what they have to do when they're leaving our doors so they're safe. And as a gun owner in New Jersey, it's probably one of the hardest things to do in this state anyway. They should know that when you're leaving a gun store, you're either going to two places. You're either going right home to put your gun into your safe, or they're going to a shooting range to actually enjoy their new firearm that they're buying. They're not going anywhere else, because that's another state law that they have to follow as well. You can't just go to ShopRite as soon as you purchase a gun, leave your guns inside of the trunk of a car. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah,
have to follow all these rules.
I understand, like I mentioned, I know what the New Jersey gun laws are, and I appreciate that. But, of course, the proximity to the schools does not leave me comfort when I know what is becoming a national issue. And I think, we can take some measures. I know you may be grandfathered in, but I think we, as a small town, can take some measures to ensure we're doing everything to protect our children. So if we cannot do something about the store that has already been open, actually, I'll come back to that. I want to urge you, as our council members and our mayor, to do something to prevent it going forward. So I don't want another shop opening up next to our schools. So So that's one. I think we need to take that as an agenda item to discuss amending our zoning laws. And then for the existing shop, I also wonder, Derek, if you can tell me, do you guys have security cameras around? So that if something odd is happening, are the police going to be alerted, or any type of security measures like this?
So as per requirements for any dealer or any gun shop to open in the state of New Jersey, it has to be a 24-hour centrally monitored system that's monitored here by Spotswood Police Department. It's also monitored by state police, ATF, fire department. It's constantly monitored. We have 24-hour video surveillance, heat sinking, thermal imaging, viewing anywhere in the world. We went through every security measure inside of our store to protect the store, so everything is contained inside. All the firearms are locked up in cases, in safes. All the windows are caged up. So if anybody were to break into that store and get their hands on a firearm within 2 minutes, I'd be strongly surprised. And there's a 30-second window with our alarm system, and the police department is right down the street, so I highly doubt anything's ever going to happen in that store. And I can put my word and my life on it. And if anything were ever to happen at the school, you have the police department right down the street, and if there's anything ever, to happen at a school or at the daycare, I'd be the first one to put my life to protect your kids,
Okay.
if the police didn't get there in time.
Okay. So, like I said, I understand you're grandfathered in, there's nothing we can do about it. We weren't aware of it in time to discuss it, but I do expect and urge the council to take this as an agenda item to review our zoning laws for going forward. So,
Duly noted.
okay. Is that something that I need to follow up on, or?
You're always welcome to come and get involved with your local government, and I applaud you for coming today. And I applaud you for coming today, because certainly you were on the firing line.
Yes.
In terms of questions. Do you feel like you got the answers you needed tonight?
Yes, I mean, like I said, I understand where we are today. I don't like it. I'm sorry, Derek. I support local business, I support small business, but of course, the proximity to a daycare makes me very uncomfortable. The security measures, okay, I'll ponder them and see where I stand. But again, I think there's something we can do going forward, like Piscataway, to change those. And if you guys, I don't know if you have access to it already, if you need the ordinances from Piscataway regarding this, I can forward it to you.
That would be great.
It makes for interesting reading. So I will forward those to you after this meeting.
Thank you.
Piscataway did their ordinance, they did it with, they couldn't do a gun shop within 1,000 feet of any school.
That's correct. Within schools, playgrounds, or churches.
That effectively, Piscataway pretty much said gun shops will never be happening in that town again because of the distance they put on it. They wanted to make sure there was no gun shops in town. I mean, I tend to agree with you. I'm pro firearms. Probably not the best location for the gun shop, but I understand the security measures they take. And based on all the security they have in there, I'm comfortable with having the gun shop there. Again, probably not the best place to put it.
And I don't know if your children are at the daycare, so I don't know if your feelings would be different if you have to leave your children there while you're at work.
I
but-
completely understand how you feel.
So, but I understand about the surveillance. I'll follow up with the police department to confirm that. If there is 24-hour surveillance, that makes me feel a little bit better. I'll confirm with them that someone is monitoring that screen and it does have the appropriate triggers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Very well presented, both of you.
Anyone else?
Cheryl Bass, 289 Main Street. I have a comment and a question. First, let me give the comment. President Ronald Reagan, when he was married to Jane Wyman, they had a stillborn baby. And after that, they adopted the boy who, Michael Reagan.
Yeah.
My
Thank you for
question.
sharing that, Cheryl.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. I have a question. How did the names get selected? Because it says how the names will appear on the ballot. This is for the election for the town council.
Pat, you want to answer that?
Yes, there is, we make an appointment with all of the people running, and we draw their names, and out of the hat, and that's how they get their positions on the ballot.
Because, it looks curious. It's not alphabetical, and it's not by, who is currently in office and then who is looking to come into office. So it's just by, so to say, a lottery.
Lottery, yeah.
A lottery.
Usually I got the last.
Oh, okay.
I ran.
Okay. The way it works out, the women are the last, the way it
Gee,
works out.
that doesn't surprise me.
So that was, it looks curious, and that was why
Well, thank you for thinking of a woman.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
There we are.
Thank you, Cheryl. Hi.
Hi, Colleen Ronco, 118 Main Street, Manalapan Road. It's been a long
You want to
day.
be on Main Street,
No,
huh?
I don't want to be on Main Street. I don't need any more traffic. I'm done with the traffic. I wasn't going to comment tonight, but since this gun issue got brought up, I figured I would jump in here.
Okay.
I have a husband who's a Marine. My dad was in Vietnam. I have an uncle that was a chief warrant officer for. I grew up in a house full of guns. House full of them. I mean, my uncle he had guns all over the place. Although I do understand your concern, I have to say I have absolutely no issues whatsoever with the gun shop being in town, nor do I have it being concerned with it being next door to a daycare. Quite frankly, again, growing up in a house full of guns, I would be, if it was my daughter in that daycare, I would be more concerned with the people that are coming into town and driving through with the illegal guns than the gun store right there. You're not going to have those people leaving that gun store are not going to walk in and go into the daycare center next door. It's just not going to happen. Those people have gotten their guns legally, they've gotten their firearms permit legally, they know what they're doing. Let's face it, this is not exactly the state where you go around driving with guns and illegal guns and everything else. I would feel more secure knowing that there was a gun store next door to where my children were, even at the high school to this day. I mean, the police department's being right there. I love the fact that the police department is this close to the high school. Because if, God forbid, something happens, those guys in the back are going to be out that door and in New York Minute into that school, long before we have to wait for anybody else to get there. And I can tell you that the gentleman, Derek was it? He's going to be running down the road with his gun as well. So I personally, as a resident of this town, been here since 1972, I have no issues with them having a gun store. And I really think to take a small business and to say, we're going to zone against it, then who comes in here next? Somebody that doesn't like a liquor store, somebody that doesn't like an auto body store, somebody that doesn't like a vape store, exactly. So you're talking about getting into and discussing a whole slew of other things other than the gun store. Quite frankly, I apologize that your signs were stolen. That's horrible. Nobody should have their signs stolen. So I just wanted to make that as a comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to close the public portion?
Hi.
Fernando Marin, 112 Klein Avenue. First time addressing the board. I feel like I should have been here a long time ago. There's a lot of great topics. It's good to see a lot of people coming up here and talking about their concerns. I can relate to a lot of the things that we're talking about. I'm just going to read my letter and get through it as quickly as I can, not to waste your time. I did address some of these with the Board of Ed, so if you can just be patient with me. My name's Fernando Marin. I'm a 15-year Navy veteran, retired sheriff's officer, and currently working for the South River Police Department protecting their schools. I'm here today because I'm concerned about my son's commute along with all the other kids on our side of town. My son is a 6th grader going to Memorial Middle School, and we live on Klein Avenue, along with our neighbors on Doris, Sidney, and McKinley, connecting all three. My first concern was the fact that the middle school doesn't have a before and after care program for the parents that work, which is most of us. And I've already addressed that with the board last week. And they did agree to do another survey since they haven't done one in 2 years. So we'll see what happens with that. My second concern is that I've been in Spotswood for over 15 years, and I've always wondered, why don't we have sidewalks on the main streets? Or even down the rest of our street on our side of town. Apparently Spotswood thinks that our kids are mature enough to walk to and from school, and I can somewhat agree with that. But if you haven't noticed, we have some mentally ill people roaming the streets of our side of town, and I'm very concerned about letting my son walk down Main Street or even ride his bike to school. I can't imagine anybody on this board that would tell me to have my son walk the train tracks or even cut through the woods. No way. We need sidewalks. This has to be a way, there has to be a way that we can get this funded through a grant or some money set aside from the taxes to make this happen. Maybe the town grant writer, engineer, and attorney can get together and look into this.
God bless you.
If there's anything that I can do to help, please feel free to call. I can provide you my number. Considering how many accidents are happening around town, I think this should be at the top of our agenda for the safety and security of our kids. I know we talked about it in the last meeting with sidewalks and everything. It sounds like you guys work quickly. So I would like to have that same meeting and the steps that are going towards that with our side of town, because we need the sidewalks. I mean, I'm going to go to the meeting tomorrow night regarding the bus service, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. But something has to give. I mean, it's been a long time, and, you know, I waited a long time to come here and start, you know, making my point, but I think we need to address the sidewalks on our side of town also.
I agree with you. I think it's just a question of funding. You know, these projects are very expensive, especially here in New Jersey. And, you know, we do have a plan set up with a list of streets that we want to address street by street. But I agree. I think the sidewalks are essential, especially since we are a walking district. And we do have so much traffic along Manalapan, Main Street, all the way down to Dora.
Yeah, I think we just got to prioritize what we want to spend our money on, and I think the kids should come first. And like I said, I'm going to speak to the
They always
Board of Ed tomorrow regarding a bus service. Maybe that would be cheaper. It's only 4 streets on our side. I mean, we're pretty much East Brunswick over there, you know what I mean? But
Do you have older, now, I know I had some friends down there, but they've aged out with their kids. So is there younger kids in that area now?
there are younger kids on our side.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I can go door to door. I can get a number of kids, find out exactly where they're going to school to help the board out, whatever I can do.
Okay, so what bus meeting are you talking about tomorrow night?
Well, no, the Board of Ed meeting, I believe it's tomorrow night.
okay.
So I'm going to speak to them about a bus that comes down my road and actually picks up one kid. I guess it was a bus that was purchased a little while ago, Delta 07, and it looks like it's just picking up one kid on my side of town. Why can't we just throw the rest of the kids on that bus and bring them into town? We have no
Sounds like a good
sidewalks.
compromise.
Yeah, I think it would be cheaper.
John, do you know anything about the bus service that goes down to Dora?
It's the new bus, Delta 07. It's one of the bigger buses. It used to be a small bus. I believe the kid is special ed, and at first they weren't going to pick him up, but then they found out he was special ed.
They stop at, I noticed that they stop at the Woodmere, across the street over there, the Preston Park. No kids, there's nobody to watch them. They must go with their grandmother or something. They drop kids off at Woodmere
Oh, after school you're talking about.
after school, yeah.
I'm talking about getting picked up before and after
Have one
school.
student being picked up, his destination is probably not the high school, is it? But we'd
No,
have to-
probably not,
get
but I
involved
mean,
with
we could
Board
work
of Ed
something out where they can get dropped off at,
Small bus.
Yeah.
Small bus, it's a small.
it's not a small bus
Well,
anymore.
the one I know, that's the only
Yeah,
one.
there used to be a small bus that was picking up this kid, but now it's a big bus. So I'm thinking maybe, you know, like I said, I'll address that tomorrow. To conclude, I just want to say I am a veteran, and you guys were talking about packages and letters, and it's very appreciated when you're overseas during a war, receiving those packages and letters, so I suggest absolutely doing that every chance you get.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, I'm a retired police officer, and I'm now working for South River Police. So I am a gun owner. I understand the concern, but it's just not that easy to get a weapon these days, as you all know. But I believe that if that store is open, I'm sure they're taking all the right measures. And with Spotswood behind them, I mean, they're a fantastic department, so they're doing everything they can do, and I'm sure it's going to be okay. But I would definitely like to see you guys address this sidewalk issue. I'll do what I can with the Board of Ed,
Okay.
and we'll see what happens.
Now, there are sidewalks, I think, in front of the
Partially, when you get to
apartment,
like Copac, yeah,
Yeah.
there's some sidewalks here and there.
right? Yeah.
But at least Main Street. I mean, I'll trust my kid going down my street, but when he gets to Main Street, just help me out a little bit, you know, something. Or like I said, maybe we can just do the bus service to help that side of town.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your perspective on all those issues. Thank you for coming up. I'm sorry, John. Okay.
Colleen Ronco, 118 Manalapan. We had this discussion, I had this discussion with you guys 2 years ago. May have been even 3 years ago, because we lived on that side of town at one point with the street situation, and I did bring it up at the last meeting. When I was, I went to Immaculate when I was a kid here, and that turn on DeVoe Avenue where the guardrail is now, there was no guardrail there. So when you went past the lake and you made that turn where that ranch house, that raised ranches, there was no guardrail there. That was just like, it was just like the street. It was just like a part that they had paved on top of the actual road. So we actually did have busing for a while from that side of town to take us over to Immaculate. So anybody that was on that side of town got to the high school or to Immaculate or to Appleby or Shonley because of that curve and the fact that you literally were walking on top of the street. So if you were walking next to somebody and somebody shoved you, you were in the middle of the road and the people coming around couldn't see. So I agree with the gentleman. That busing down on that side of town, and we did have this discussion 3 years ago when my daughter had fallen. There is nothing. Once you get past where that new development was, which I think is Copac, from there all the way down, there's no streets on either side. And, it's not so bad when you're 17 and you're walking down the railroad tracks, but do you really want kids in the middle school? I mean, you're talking about, 11, 12-year-olds walking up the railroad tracks or walking up Main Street. And let's face it, no matter how mature your child is, the child next to him may not be. Pushing and shoving and joking around is what kids do, and somebody's going to end up in that street. I mean, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. At the very least, busing is going to be cheaper than a lawsuit.
Yeah. Thank you, Colleen, for that perspective. Dawn, the guard down that end is just at the bottom of Summerhill, right? That's the guard that's the furthest out?
That's our furthest guard, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so then from there, all the way to the end of town, there's no other presence. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll bring it under consideration. But again, it's a money issue, Any other comments? Anybody else from the audience?
Make a motion to close public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Any other discussion before we close the meeting? Nope. Motion to close?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I want to say something before you.
Oh, wait. Go ahead, John.
Just want to say
Sure.
something. Let me
John,
go-
go to the mic.
Yeah. Just want to say something. They'll probably agree with me back there, too. There's more crime with illegal guns. Illegal. They're not legal. Murders and hold-ups or whatever. Legitimate people, percentually, don't do those things. They let the guy lost his brain or a woman lost her head, and they kill somebody, or they do what they do. But a lot of these crimes are all illegal guns. They're all illegals. The majority of them. They're not legit. I just want to say that. I think you got a point, no? You got a point.
The guns are illegal? Is that what you're saying?
Guns are illegal. A lot of
Okay.
crime, a lot of illegal guns. They're out there. They get them from down south. They go here and all that. Then they get them, and that's what goes on. They're not legit, and they may commit crimes, shooting people or holding up or whatever they do. But the normal person, you don't become normal. Sometimes they snap and they have a legitimate gun. They're all registered. It goes on almost quite a bit. They get search warrants. They go to the house. The guy's got this. The guy has that. He's got this. But they're all registered. You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
all that other stuff they're all illegal guns. It goes on every day and every day. Every day.
Well, I agree that somebody that shoots somebody has something wrong in the head, right? But I don't know anybody who's really normal. I think we're all different in our own ways, and I appreciate them coming to talk about these issues here at the meeting. So thank you, everybody. Safe travels.
All right.
And our next meeting is November 7th. It's a Wednesday.
November the 7th. That's right.
And go out and vote, please.
Councilman Stolen?
Get out and vote.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Malillo?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
And eat pancakes at the pancake breakfast.
November 7th. November 6th is the election. Is the next meeting, November 7th.